So let's go ahead, I'll read it out loud, I'll read parts of it out loud, I'll ask other people to read parts of it out loud, and we'll go from there. There are essays about police intimidation. Police intimidation is not uncommon in a lot of cities across the U.S. The authority granted to these police officers is sometimes taken to their heads and can be easily taken out of hand. Somebody read the audience section?
I'll read it. Audience. Anyone in America can fall victim to police intimidation. If you are a commuter who drives to school or work every day, you can be pulled over at any time.
Go ahead. Next section, please.
Okay. On this purpose, my job is to inform the audience about who, where, when, what, and why.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
There are plenty of resources that are out there that provide information on just these situations. On policecrime.com, it gives a variety.
Okay, what questions do you have at this point? Yeah,
I can't really tell which way this is going.
okay,
I would like to know.
okay. What other questions do you have at this point? Is that the only one? Is that the main one? I mean, that seems to be the main one,
Yeah.
right? Like, where are we going with this? Okay. What other questions do you have? Anything else you're wondering?
Right at the beginning when she says, afraid that we're going to jail for life, like, did you do something that bad? Like you shouldn't be scared of going to jail for life if you didn't do anything that bad.
Right, so kind of like some of those
Like
things.
if you didn't do anything, then why are you scared?
Okay, okay, let's see if we can answer these questions if we continue to read through here. At this point, we're probably all wondering, okay, so where are we going? Are we actually, what are we going to be advocating for? So let's see if that question's actually answered. Somebody else? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a moment here. Let's take just a couple minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, right? And we're gonna use the prompts that we've been using all semester. And I want you to note a couple things that you value about this, some things you have questions about, and then some things that you suggest the author consider. Just take a couple minutes and write some ideas down. Brainstorm a couple ideas for the author. And then we'll talk about it. Okay, I'd like to hear from you guys first. So let's start with the things we value about this. What are some of the things we value? Go ahead, please.
I really like the personal stories because it helps like with the pathos and like the reader can automatically like relate to what this writer is talking about.
Yeah. Good, I agree. Somebody else agree? Have another point to make? Yeah. You agree with that? You like that? Good. Go ahead, please.
I like the subject matter, the fact that she focused on the flip side. Even though she's had negative experiences with police,
Right.
like she would have reason to think of police in a negative way.
Right.
But she still managed to think about how they feel, right, and think about like their perspective.
It kind of earns some credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Is that all? Anybody agree with that? Have something else to say in line with that? Yeah.
Well, actually, I kind of like disagree with that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you disagree?
Okay.
That's okay, that's okay.
In the I suggest part, I put like that she should visit the opposing side more because I actually felt like.
I also kind of like and dislike, I'm curious how you guys feel about it. I also kind of like to dislike how formal and not formal it was all at the same time. Like, I'd come across the word crap, for instance, and I'd be like, can you say crap in this essay? Was that like an omission, or was that on purpose? But then at the same time, I kind of felt like, well, it makes sense because we're reaching out to this very specific audience. And so, in a way, I kind of like how informal it is, but I still think that some of the language needs editing, right? But I would try to keep some of that informality in it in some way without using words like crap and stuff like that, because that could also make your audience, what were your thoughts on the tone? Yeah.
I thought that like in the middle where she was saying like you think this, you think that, like it was a little like aggressive. At that point, it was like okay, like a little bit like stop telling me what I think. Like hold on.
That's a fair statement, I would say. So in other words, like she could tell the story about her sister and the police officers harassing them, but then go into like some sort of research to see that story through.
Right, or like interviews and stuff.
That's good feedback. What do you guys think? You like that idea? How many people, let's take a poll, how many people are like, yeah, that sounds like it's a pretty good idea, I would try that. Okay. Good. That's pretty decisive, I would say. What else? What else do you have questions about?
I think your point got clear when you started using personal experiences.
Yeah, like that was
So-
clear, but at the beginning made it seem like it might be something else.
Let's move on to suggestions.
I would suggest making the stance much more obvious in the beginning.
I wanted that too.
Yeah.
How many people wanted that? Okay. That's pretty decisive too. Okay, other suggestions, please?
I'd suggest changing, like when you said going to jail for the rest of your life, I'd suggest changing that to something like going to jail that could possibly ruin.
Or like having a record.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's gonna go on your record and like no one's gonna hire you or something like
I
that.
don't know about anybody else, but I think that your paper would be much better if you organized it a little more. Like if you put one side and then the other side, like the counter argument, like they're viewed as bad, and then the good part, because it gets kind of confusing. And I see your point, and it's really good at the end, but it would be way better if you organized it.
Well, obviously we know that this is really hard to do, let an entire class look at your essay, but there are some really good ideas here, so let's say thank you very much for letting me